All right, so let's continue with the review here. We're now on section 4.6, Intro to Titrations. So for this section here, since we are going to be looking at titrations in the next unit that we're not going to spend too much time here in this particular section. What I really need for you to know is what a titration really is. And essentially, if you look at the definition for the titration, a titration is going to be when you have this here, you're going to essentially take a solution of known concentration. So let's label that here, brackets X, and volume. So this is going to be known to us. And you're going to use this information to compare it to a unknown, or a solution rather, with an unknown concentration. So the concentration here is unknown. You will know the volume, and so you'll use the general equation here for both of these is going to be M1V1 equals M2V2. Okay, so this is the general idea behind a titration. I'm not going to ask you to go ahead and calculate anything for this section, for this exam, largely because this is mostly an introduction. However, you do need to know how you prepare the burette. And so let's take a look at that really quick. So when you have the burette will have essentially this kind of arrangement here. It'll have a valve here at the very bottom that has a way for you to control whatever liquid you're adding inside. And so typically when we add the liquid here at the very top, that liquid there is typically going to be a base, sodium hydroxide. And at the bottom, we usually have a beaker of some sort, and this beaker is usually going to have an acid. And so it's this acid of unknown concentration, but the volume is known. So let's put that there, known volume. And when you add the base to the burette here, what you're going to do is you're going to add it here, and you'll dispense. And so when it dispenses going down into the beaker here, which is actually has a little bit of an acid, so let's put that as red, and at the bottom you're going to add drops of base into that solution, and you're going to wind up titrating so that you can get to the equivalence point. The main thing that I need for you to know for this section is, in preparing the burette for all of this, you do need to rinse the burette. And so that's a very key important thing here. In rinsing the burette, you definitely need to make sure you do the following. So let's go ahead. So you want to rinse the burette. And what you want to do here is you want to go ahead and add a titrant. So you're going to go ahead and add NaOH into it. And so you're going to do this 2 times. And you're going to wash it or rinse it twice with the titrant. And essentially the reason you do this is so that you don't have any impurities inside the burette. That's really the main thing I need for you to know at this point. When we have the next section, we'll go a little bit more deeper into this. Since we were only doing an intro to the section, you definitely want to know that. It's also important to know that how to prepare a solution, but like I said, we're not going to focus too much on this section since it was mostly an introduction for the titration. We'll save most of our heavy-hitting questions in the next unit when we actually do a full-blown titration. But for right now, just make sure that you're able to identify that in order to have a clean burette, you definitely need to rinse it twice with the titrant. Okay, so we'll cut that there, and we'll move on here to section 4.7.